Welcome back, everyone. Our next guest is another local woman who's finding success in her profession. She was named one of the top 20 under 40 professionals in Jacksonville by First Coast Black Pages. And she's the recent recipient of a Rising Star Award from the City of Jacksonville's Film and Television Commission. The award is presented to remarkable film and television professionals under the age of 35. Honorees excel in their craft, serve as role models, and stand out as potential stars of the future. She's been blazing trails for years as one of a new breed of journalists, working with broadcasting networks, but also independently, sometimes releasing her work in non-traditional mediums such as social media. As a publicist, she's a familiar face behind the scenes here at The Chat, but there is more to her story. So joining us with that, we welcome entrepreneur, journalist, publicist, and CEO of Carla Mechele Media, Carla Mechele, to the show. Welcome.
Hey.
Very exciting to have you.
Thank you.
All right, so I mean, you've got so many hats that you're wearing. Was this something that you kind of planned to do, was to sort of this jack of all trades?
Not at all. I was always a shy kid, and I brought a little something here. This was a microphone on one of my baby dolls. So I took it off, and I would pretend like I was interviewing people. So I've always loved just one-on-one conversation and getting to know people, and it kind of got me into this space now. So it wasn't planned, but I kind of wandered into it.
That's pretty cool. I love that, though.
Thank
It's very exciting.
you.
I mean, especially the way that you're changing the way that you publish stories or share stories in non-traditional ways, like we mentioned, social media. How did you decide to do that instead of sticking to the sort of cut and paste traditional way?
Well, I always say I faced a lot of rejection in the industry and just in life. As a little girl, I was bullied sometimes for my skin color or my hair not being long enough. So whenever I wasn't accepted in a way, I would find a way that I felt comfortable, or I would find connection with something else. So that's kind of what taught me how to go around these barriers or obstacles. And actually, this was my first job out of college right here at First Coast News. And
what'd you do here?
I was an assignment editor.
You were on the assignment desk.
Yes.
That's not stressful at all.
I know, right? That's
Really
how I
easy.
started out. Yeah, right.
That probably brought you out of your box for sure.
Yeah.
But you say that Oprah Winfrey was a big inspiration for you. Why do you say that?
Yes, absolutely. I just remember at 4 o'clock I was in front of the TV, and I loved how she was herself. You got that. I loved when I learned that she didn't know the story before she read it on prompter, and I just thought that was so cool. She was just very unique, and I've always followed her journey.
Would she be your ultimate interview, or is there somebody else you'd love to interview more?
She would be the ultimate, yes.
Who else?
Probably former President Obama. I'd like, he's very poised, but I would love to ask him some personal questions.
What would you ask him?
Oh, probably what he loved as a kid, because I believe that drives all of us, and that's how I found out what I wanted to do, obviously. So I'd like to see if it matches up to what he's been able to accomplish, and also to see what he wants to do in the future with that.
You talked a little bit about social media earlier. How are you using those platforms in what you do? And of all the platforms that are out there, which one do you think is the most successful in what you do?
Well, for me, it is Facebook, because I'm able to upload videos directly to the page, and then you're able to share it. So that's perfect for what I do. But also, each platform has a different audience. So if I'm working with a younger audience, Instagram or Snapchat, which I'm still learning, and Twitter is always good. It's good for live situations and giving quick opinions on things.
And for things like the Grammys, that's what my job, it's
Yes.
you stick with the Grammys, any kind of award show, it's the best way to keep up.
Yes,
Absolutely.
and hashtags. Like, for instance, today, International Women's Day, you can tie in. My whole job is finding relevance and connecting my clients' stories to what's newsworthy and what's going on in the world. So hashtags on Twitter is the perfect way to figure that out.
And you work with clients, but you also create your own content, which,
Yes.
more and more, I think people are doing this sort of hybrid kind of career. Where do you see it going?
I've never known where my career is going. I do eventually want a talk show because I love interviews so much, so I think that's a natural progression for me.
Well, it's kind of already started for you. You have been named Rising Star in the city of Jacksonville. What a huge honor.
Thank
Why
you.
do you think you were selected for that?
Oh, that's
We
a
see,
huge,
but why do you think you were?
huge question. All I can say is that I strive to always be who I am, be myself, and be proud and confident in that. So I hope that's why they chose me.
Well, what do you think your secret to success is? Because obviously you're a mover and a shaker. You know everybody and what everyone's doing. I mean, what do you attribute everything to?
Honestly, my faith. I do believe that has taught me to be proud of who I am. And, you know, like I said, there were times where I didn't fit in. So, you know, when God tells me he's my father, then I can, you know, that gives me an inner peace from which I can go forward. So that's really, I would say, I couldn't say anything else.
And so you're ready to recharge then?
Yes.
Kind of recharge and adapt. That's amazing.
Absolutely. Thank you. And it gives me contentment. So I'm never chasing something. It's kind of operating out of a peace and contentment that's inside. So that is what drives me forward. And it helps me decide what's good for me, who's a good client, what's a good project. All of that goes into it. It's about balance.
Well, speaking of projects, you were involved with the Keisha exhibit here.
Yes.
Tell us about that.
Well, I was honored because I never thought of what I do as visual art, but I was asked to be part of this exhibit with other African American women celebrating Black History Month and also now Women's History Month. And my story is about analyzing what the name Keisha has meant to me and my culture and my relationship with that name. So I got a chance to explore that and just, you know, invite people into my personal story.
Look at those adorable photos too.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, you actually, before we go, we actually have something else that you brought, another little piece of your own history.
Oh, yes.
It's really sweet. So kind of explain what this is.
This probably, well, it's my most treasured book, and it's called My Story. My mom actually made this when my brother was born, and she used to be a graphic designer, so she actually designed this, and this is my little family here.
That's
my
so
mom,
sweet.
dad.
Great mom.
Yeah, she's so sweet, and she used this to, you know, I was the oldest child, and my brother was being born, so she used this to help me adjust to that situation.
Smart mom.
That is brilliant. That's
Usually we just go buy a book at the bookstore like that. Your mom actually made
She
it.
really put in the thought.
She leaves nothing on the table. She's amazing.
That's really sweet.
You
Well,
are too.
congratulations on
Thank
all of your
you.
success. Thank you so much for joining us. And if you guys would like to see Carla's self-documentary, My Story, Evolving from Keisha, it's on display as part of the Keisha exhibit at the Jacksonville Public Library downtown. The exhibit runs through April 23rd.